online communication exchange between a Cape Town resident and a property agent has sparked racial uproar online. In screenshots, the resident gets denied access to view a property and is told by the agency that the homeowner specifically refuses to have people of colour in their property. Newzroom Afrika's Artie Mtengana joins us live for more on this. Artie, good afternoon to you. This is an incredible story.
A very good afternoon to you, Stephen. Well, reports suggest that the person that Paul Osai had an interaction with from the real estate agency has since been suspended. But I don't want to waste any time because I do have him with me. Those screen grabs, Paul, certainly creating an uproar on social media, and as far as race is concerned. I want you to take me back to that conversation, how it unfolded. A lot of people have actually seen how that conversation went down, but take us through how you felt when you were receiving those messages.
Cool. Thanks for giving me a chance to inspire. Yeah, so the initial emotions for me were complete disbelief. I think it was the most dominant one because I could not imagine that someone in this year, in this decade, in this time, in this country, could be so blatantly racist. And secondly, in a professional setting, it was unbelievable. And then, you know, after the disbelief, the shock and the horror of okay, there's absolutely nothing I can do to actually get this place. You know, what if the next person I speak to is like this? What if the next 10 people I speak to are like this? Where am I allowed to live? And so after that, emotionally, I figured, okay, I have to probably crusade a little bit. If I can't live here, do I simply run away? Do I go somewhere else? Or do I try and change the world to be the world that I want to live in? Yeah.
Which is accepting anyone regardless of their skin color. Now, have you found a place to stay, and has the real estate agency made contact with you to try and talk about the incident?
Yeah, so currently I'm very thankful to my current landlord because I wanted to move obviously because my lease was up, but they've been very supportive and they're allowing me to stay as long as I want until this issue is resolved. So in terms of urgency of finding a place, I have some stability, to allow me to carry on to see this through. In terms of the agencies, I've had representatives from both of them phone and sort of apologize, and express their own disbelief, and say, that, and reiterate that they don't practice this way, they don't do business this way, and offered sort of help to find a place and so on. So that's what has happened so far.
Considering the fact that you told me just when we arrived that you're from Johannesburg, have you experienced particularly in Cape Town incidents that obviously spark that race element to it? Have you experienced racism besides this particular incidents that occurred?
Certainly I can say so. I think as a person of color, and as a man, the most common type of oppression I do suffer is racism, and the most common type for sure are all the microaggressions that we hear about. When I was much younger, when I lived in Johannesburg, like these were things that we didn't really know, didn't really understand. We knew, at least I knew, that it felt strange if somebody didn't let me do something or didn't let me say something, and the reasoning was that I was, a different color than them. But through some life education, I guess, and through the general spotlight on inequality, I've come to realize that a lot of things are racism, and I've realized that I've actually been through quite a few experiences. None obviously as like bold and blatant as this particular incident. It's definitely a cut above the rest, but certainly they're quite a lot. Yeah.
Lastly, as I let you go, were you shocked at the level at which she was blatant and quite blunt about it, and open to tell you that the person who owns the property does not allow or does not want black people?
Oh, absolutely. Racism isn't something I'm unfamiliar with. And for as long as I've been an adult, people who practice racism have always been traditionally denialists as well. You know, people are like, oh, like I'm not racist, I've never done that. So the shock at somebody just openly not denying it at all, you almost proud. It was just I couldn't. It was too much. So absolutely shocked. Yeah.
Paul, thank you so much for your time. Well, Stephen, you heard the victim, Paul, who is now recalling how he feels after that incident, which has, of course, online sparked an uproar where people have obviously expressed how frustrated they are that there are still incidents of this nature, racial incidents of this nature, still taking place in 2021, and specifically here in Cape Town, discriminating people like Paul who are simply looking for places to stay.